On Plan Talk is Mr. Yotham Mwanza, who is Chipolopolo Soccer Fans Association, trying to find out how prepared soccer fans come Thursday with the important question of Zambia's prospects of qualifying to the next Africa Cup of Nations. Is it done and dusted, or Zambia will just bounce back and make it to the Africa Cup of Nations? My name is Kelvin Tabula, Chief Focal, and this is the special edition of Plan Talk. Mr. Mwanza, our chairman, good evening and welcome to Plan Talk.
Good evening and good evening, viewers.
Zambia's chances or Zambia's prospects of qualifying to the next Africa Cup of Nations. Do we still have chances of qualifying, or we can just say the game that we'll be playing on Thursday and the game that we'll be playing away to Zimbabwe are just formalities?
Well, they're not formalities per se. I think we still have what it takes for us to be able to qualify, because when you look at the table, we are sitting on 3 points. Zimbabwe is on 5. Then meaning and implying that if we are to win the next 2 games against Algeria, that should be able to push us at 6. We win against Zimbabwe, we are 9. Then it means we can be able to qualify as the second best in the group.
Others will argue and say you are banking on Zambia beating Algeria at home, but the game that we played against Algeria, it ended, or we allowed 5 goals.
Yeah, we need to be alive to the fact that we were beaten 5 goals to nil when we went to Blida in Algeria, and that wasn't a good result. Thereafter, Botswana came calling. You remember we won 2 goals to 1. That gave us 3 points. When we traveled to Gaborone, we were beaten 1 goal to nil. It meant that we're sitting on 3 points. Now we still have 2 more games that should be able to give us some hope. Yeah, that we can be able to qualify. And one game which is very, very difficult, I must confess, is against Algeria. Because when you look at Algeria, they are the defending champions. They've played well. They've only drawn once against Botswana. They've won all the games. So it tells you that we've got a tough battle, to be able to play against Algeria. But in football, anything is possible. If we do apply ourselves, we do, involve ourselves so much, we can be able to beat Algeria. I know out there fans may say, look, we were beaten 5 goals to nil. What chance do we have that we can be able to win against Algeria? We were beaten by Botswana 1 goal to nil. What chance do we think we have? We were beaten by Zimbabwe 2 goals to 1. What chance do we have against Algeria? But football being football, I think we need to give credit to Coach Mitchell for a job well done in terms of assembling a very good side. A side of players that are playing week in, week out at their club. And these are guys that we should have faith in, that they should be able to give us a win against Algeria.
Before we look at the players that Coach Mitchell has managed to assemble, to come, like you've put it, they are playing week in, week out in their respective clubs. German, people say, when you are playing qualifiers, you need to take advantage and win your home games. And the game that we lost to Zimbabwe at home, and people say now our chances are shattered because Zimbabwe won't allow us to win or to beat them in their backyard.
Yeah, truly, I think we should have taken advantage of the Zimbabwe game when we played them at home, like we did against Botswana, where we won 2 goals to 1. But unfortunately, we lost against Zimbabwe 2 goals to 1 as well. It was quite sad, a sad day, for Zambia to be able to lose at Hero Stadium. But when you look at these 2 games that we have, it's a matter of life and death. I think we should try and redeem ourselves in terms of wanting to qualify, for the Africa Cup of Nations. Look behind us, or if we look behind us, we haven't gone to the Africa Cup of Nations twice. So we would like to think that this is an opportune moment for us, to be able to go to Cameroon 2021. And the best moment for us to be able to do it is a game against Algeria and a game against Zimbabwe.
A game against Algeria and a game against Zimbabwe. From the time that we won the Africa Cup of Nations in 2012, like you've put it, we have failed to qualify to the Africa Cup of Nations. And others seeing that this is another time that Zambia will fail to qualify. From a soccer fan's point of view, do you think our football has been improving or it has been going down? looking at the results that we've managed to get.
Again, I think it's quite sad that since the 2012 Africa Cup of Nations, where we were at the top, winning it in Gabon, in Libreville, Gabon, our football has been going down and down and down, because you remember that we were supposed to defend, the cup in South Africa.
Yes.
But we ended up drawing all 3 games, and as a result, we were ejected in the first round. I think that, again, was quite sad, because we went in as champions. And as champions, we should have proved that we were deserving, so that we could have even gone to, to play Confederations football, for the World Cup Confederations football. But unfortunately, we ended up, getting ejected in the first round in that game. So, beginning from 2013, let's be frank about it, our game has been going down.
Now that you've admitted that from the soccer fan point of view that our game has been going down, our people are asking questions. Where are we getting it all wrong? Is it with the players? Is it with soccer fans? You're not giving enough support. Is it with the technical bench, the coach and his technical bench? Or it is with the administration?
I think we can spend the whole night here talking about what has gone wrong in terms of our Zambian game. Frankly speaking, there are a lot of things that we could be able to, talk of what has led to our game going down. But beginning from 2012, when we won it, I think we should have started molding, our team, bringing in fresh blood, new blood, to try and revive the Zambian national team. But we didn't do that. Let's be frank about it. We didn't do that. Look at the team that traveled to South Africa in 2013. It was more or less the same team. The Chris Katongos, the Kenneth Mwenez, all the guys, the big guys that won us the Africa Cup of Nations. But if, we wanted to bring in fresh blood, that was the best moment for us to have done it. But we didn't do it. We left it at that moment. We thought, the guys that had won us the Africa Cup in 2012 in Libreville, Gabon, are the people that we should be able to take and carry over into South Africa. But things couldn't work out. So what could have gone wrong? In a space of a year, these are the guys that were on top of the game, that had played well, that had amazed Africa and mesmerized the world, and they won the Africa Cup of Nations. But a year later, in South Africa, in Mpumalanga, in Nelspruit, they couldn't live up to expectation. We played against Ethiopia, it was a draw. We played against Nigeria, it was a draw. We played against Burkina Faso, it was a draw. And as a result, we were ejected. So from there on, I want to believe that should have been the moment for the, the technocrats at Football House, the powers that be, the technical, bench, to have sat down and said, look, we need to infuse in new blood, new personnel to try and revive our game.
Is it too late?
Well, it's not too late. We've got a new coach in Mitchell. He's come in. Look at the squad that he tried to raise at the Chan tournament. It was basically under 23, and that was very good, because these are the boys that should be the future for tomorrow. These are the boys that we should be able to rely on, regardless of them not having done well at the Chan tournament. We need to give credit to the coach for being bold and magnanimous in terms of coming on, bringing on the youngsters to be able to don the Zambian colors.
You've referred to the new coach that we have, but there's a section of society who are saying the new coach or the current coach that we have seem not to have respect on other players, the people that have played. For example, we did see what happened with Kavaso Chonga. It's now that was a record. As a soccer fan, what do you make of it?
Let's accept it that, the older guys did help us win the Africa Cup of Nations, which was great. Football being what it is, we need, to start bringing in, the youngsters that should be the stars of tomorrow. We cannot, continue relying on the older guys. Yes, they are experienced guys. We need experienced people fused together with the new upstarts. I think that is great. That should be able to help our game. Exactly what the coach Mitchell is doing at the moment. Look at it. He's got the Cavasos. He's got the Nathan Sinkalas. All those guys who are old guys. He's fusing them with the new with the new guys. I think that's great. It's a combination of the the experienced players as well as the new guys. I think that's a way to go forward. Unlike if there was a total overhaul of the entire team, I think that way would have been suicidal for our game. But the coming in of experience, the coming in of the guys that, the upstarts, I think it should be able to blend well and help us in terms of qualifying for the Africa Cup of Nations.
It seems we don't know what we want to achieve as soccer fans, from the soccer fans' point of view. There are those that have been calling for the inclusion of other guys, the people that have played at the AFCON in 2012, the likes of Nathan Sinkala, the likes of Sunzu. And the coach seems to have, answered to that call by calling these people. But again, a section of soccer fans are saying, even if they come, these guys won't do anything. These are third legs. Why is it that the coach has included these guys who cannot even add value?
When you look at football, there are a lot of experts. If I don't know whether you did watch football at Independence Stadium when there was Gate D, when you had those football experts in inverted commas. Even now we still have. And now things have changed because football is being talked so much on social media. And everybody is an expert in his own right. But for me, my belief is let's leave it to the technical bench. I think they are the right people to be able to select the kind of players that they believe who can be able to give us a game. When you look at the kind of players that were called in this training camp, there were 33 players, meaning and implying that the coach picked 3 players per position, which was fantastic because. What was the idea? The idea was to try each player and try and see if these players could be able to fit in the position that they were called in, and that way, come Thursday, I want to believe that the coach will have a stronger side, a good side, a side that should be able to give us maximum points in terms of the game against Algeria. But yes, there are a lot of schools of thought. Other people would want to think differently, thinking that. What the coach has done is wrong in terms of calling the other guys, but let experience come in, blend it with the upstarts. I think that would be great.
The same coach, Mitchell, is good at calling players. Let's give an example of what happened at the Chan. These are the guys, the likes of Sautu, the guy who has been a game changer, but the coach, for lack of better term, seemed not to like the boy because whenever he was introduced, he could change the game, and he scored that crack of a goal. But it seems the coach doesn't want to use him.
Well, I don't know whether it's a question of not liking the boy, but my take on that is that it was technical. The coach, wanted to use him as a super sub. And when he came in as a super sub, I think it was great. Look at the game that he came in, the first game that he came in. He was a game changer in the Chan tournament. Look at the other game that he came in, he was able even to get a goal for us. I think that was great. And it depends on how the coach would want to play his boys. Some are good, super subs. And exactly this is what happened with Spencer Sautu. That's my take.
Let's look at our local league. Our local league is full of foreign players who are playing in our clubs, and others are saying because of a good number of foreign players who are playing in our local league, this is what has made our local league to go down, and even our players not to tick because they are facing competition in their local league, and even when they are called at national level, they're failing to perform because at club level, it is foreign players who are playing.
Yeah, let me state from the outset that I'm one person that has also called for the quotas in terms of foreign players because this is not helping our game. We all know of certain teams when it all began, when this friends of bringing in foreign players. We had one team, was it Butcon, that had to feature 11 players plus 6 on the sub, foreign players without Zambians. And this has continued in a way, in that all clubs, when you look at them, they would feature about 7, 8, foreign players at the expense of Zambian players. I think this is not helping Zambian football. It's eating into Zambian football. That's why you see that as a result, the top scorers that we've had of late are foreign players. We don't have any Zambians. Apart from, as we speak now, you can only, pinpoint a few guys. James Chamanga and a few other guys. Brian Miller, they're the guys that are doing it. But most of these guys that are top scholars are foreign players. So it's good now we're hearing feelers from the Zambian FA that they would want, to impose quotas in terms of players, foreign players that are playing in our local league. That is great. That is good. That is fantastic. It should be able to help, grow our game. Because at the moment, our football is suffering. Because eventually these boys that play at club level are the guys that will have to come to the Zambia national team. Now, if they don't have game time at club level, where are you going to draw players to come to the Zambia national team? It will be very difficult. So we need to put a policy. The Zambian FA needs to come in and be able to put quotas to say, okay, fine. A club may have 7 players or 5 players or 6 players, but at any given time, let 4 players be able to play. I think that way it will open up avenues for own Zambian players.
Others are also arguing to say our players are not just good enough. People are giving examples of Congo, DRC, where we exported a good number of players. I remember at one point at TP Mazembe, the starting lineup had, it was even called Zambia B because of a good number of players who were playing at Tupisa Mazembe. But Congo continued to play good football at the national team. Also in South Africa, we've got a good number of Zambian players who are playing their trade in South Africa. But South Africa also has, managed to consolidate the local team. And if these people are called for national duties,
well, apart from 1996 and 2006 when South Africa won the Africa Cup of Nations, what have they done? It's very, very difficult. It's only at club level that, South Africa is taking Mamelodi Sundowns, Orlando Pirates, and Kaizer Chiefs to some extent. Why? It's because there've been also an influx of foreign players at club level, and that has helped them in terms of playing club football. But at national team level, they're nowhere. Yes, they've been to the World Cup, but in 2010 they hosted it. They got ejected in the first round. Now, for us as Zambia, I think we need to take a leaf from what has happened to South Africa, what has also happened to the Congo national team. I know out there somebody can argue to say Congo has won the CHAN tournament, which is a locally based, teams. Yes. They've won it, is it twice,
yes.
That kind of thing. But I think speaking specifically about, Chipolopolo, we need to address this situation of foreign players. We need to put quotas in terms of the players that are coming into our league, because this is not healthy. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it will affect us. And we have no national team. We have no players coming to the Zambian national team. So, before it's too late, let's come in. I'm happy that the Zambian FA is coming in. They've seen that there's a problem. They're coming in. They're trying to push, a quota, which will be great. That should be able to help us, our football.
Don't you think now our Zambian players, if the FA is to put a restriction or a quota to say this is a number of foreign players that you can, buy or admit to your club, it will give them, kind of relaxation to say we don't have competition, and they'll start, not putting much in terms of them upping their game, because they know, say, there's no competition.
Well, when you look at clubs, they've got in excess of about 40 players. So if you don't put in your best, the other player will be able to come in. We've got, a lot of players that would want to come into the Zambia national team. If you go around into our compounds, you see when Christmas tournaments are being played. There are a number of players that deserve to be able to come to different clubs. But owing to the fact that the clubs are full with these supposedly, professionals that are coming into the country, our Zambian players do not have access into these clubs. Now, look at it this way. When you see a number of clubs that have got these foreign players, some of these foreign players are not even good enough. They are sitting on the benches. Time has come that the coaches have realized that these guys are not good enough, and hence they are sitting on the benches. So they can't be chased owing to the fact that there's a contract. Some of them have signed 3-year contracts, 4-year contracts, 5-year contracts. So you need to respect that contract. There's nothing that you can do. You cannot be able to chase that player. So what do? You're stuck with that player for 5 years. So as a result, a bigger chunk of your money is, being chewed or is going to the foreign players, as opposed to a situation where it should have gone to a Zambian. Because Zambians, how much are they being paid? It's something that, is manageable. But when you look at foreign players, there's a lot that is, paid to them. But they don't give so much. We've seen it in the number of clubs that there are. We've got players at Zanaco, yes, a few players, foreign players, like Makesi is doing well. You're talking of Kiala is also doing well. Suleiman is doing well at Zanaco. But Babasile is also doing well, although it's a bit of a struggle nowadays in terms of getting goals for Zanaco. He was good at Lusaka Dynamos, but at Zanaco is a bit of a challenge. Now, even with other clubs, when you look at other clubs, the foreign players are there, but they are not ticking as they used to be.
Also, from the soccer fan point of view, soccer fans are crying, and they are saying, in the past, whenever a team has been assembled, and Thursday, like in this case, this week, Thursday, Zambia will be rocking horns with Algeria. Soccer fans like yourself, German, you are able to come up with a lineup, and come D-Day, for example, Thursday, you find that from your prediction or from your lineup, only one player will miss, or your first 11 will be the team or will be the players that the coach will assemble. But this time around, it is very difficult. You can predict and say, this is the one this will be our number one, or our goalkeeper. This is the guy who is going to play on the left, on the right, and the center backs. This is the guy who is going to be the top man, and who is going to be partnered with this one. But this is no longer the case. What is it?
I think times have changed. We must be able to admit. Like I did mention in my preamble that Coach Mitchell did go into camp 33 players. Of those 33 players, they're all jostling for positions. They're all fighting for a position. So here's a player, for argument's sake, we all know that he does play well at club level. So he takes it for granted that even at national team he'll be able to earn a position. But he needs to understand that there are other players that also have been called. And those players would want to play for the Zambia national team. So if he doesn't put in his best, the other players will be able to take up that position. Now, for me, as a fan of the game, and a fan of that individual, and a fan of that club, I'll just take it for granted that player A, B, or player so-and-so will be into the national team. Come, match day, I'll be shocked. Because the coach would have seen nothing good in that player. And as a result, he would have seen the other player doing well. So what does he do? He picks the other player that did well in training and brings him on. Me, I'll be stuck with my lineup of 11 players who I think, will be able to play better because I've seen this boy play at club level. But that boy did not do anything in camp. And the coach has decided to drop him. Hence, from the 11 that I would have on the day that it will play, I find that I only have got 7. So I cannot fault the coach in terms of the team that he selected. He selected that team based on the fact that those people did prevail in training and they showed class and they deserve to be in the starting lineup.
What sort of message, now that you've clarified and said maybe at training level, as though at training maybe these players were not putting in enough, what sort of message should be given to these players that are being called to say the fact that you've been called to come, it's not automatic that you'll be in the first 11. So you need to put in the best. Does it mean, what sort of message should the coach, the soccer fans yourself, I know that you are in talks with these players even as they are playing abroad. What sort of message do you tell them? Say, when you're called, put in your very best.
First and foremost, when you're called by the coach to the Zambia national team, you need to take it very seriously. You need to understand that of the 18 million Zambians, you've been lucky that the coach has been able to pick on you. So the onus is on you as a player to prove to the coach that you deserve to wear the badge. You deserve to wear the shirt. You deserve to play for the Zambia national team. So you must be able to put in 110%. You put in 110%, the coach will be happy with you. And as a result, you'll be in the starting lineup. Don't take things for granted. Time is long gone when, names were preferred in terms of the Zambia national team. Now names are no longer there. It's a question of the effort that you're able to put. Let's take, for argument's sake, Nathan Sinkara when he came to the Zambia national team in 2012. You remember the boy who went to India to play with the Zambia national team. He was playing for GBFC at that time. When he went to India, he proved to Coach Renat that he had that hunger to be able to play for the Zambia national team. And as a result, when the 23-man squad was mentioned, they had the training camp in South Africa. When the 23-man squad was mentioned to go to Equatorial Guinea, the boy was into that 23-man squad. What happened? He was into the squad, beginning with the first game, ending with the final game. The boy played all the 6 games. So it showed you that when he was called, when the boy was called, he did put in his best, and the best was good enough, such that it did convince the selectors at that time that the boy deserved to be in the Zambia national team.
We are talking about Zambia's prospects of qualifying to the next Africa Cup of Nations, and my guest on the program is Yotham Mwanza, trying to, punch some holes. Zambia will be playing on Thursday against Algeria. Now remember, in the first leg, Zambia traveled to Algeria and we received that bashing. Algeria scored 5 goals. Zambia failed to even score a first saver. And now Algeria are coming to Zambia. Thursday is a D-Day, and Zambia is hoping to collect 3 maximum points. Remember, there are only 2 games remaining. Zambia will play Algeria at home, and they're hoping to pick 3 maximum points. Let alone they'll supposed to those travel to Zimbabwe and rock horns with the Zimbabwe. When they came to Zambia, Zimbabwe managed to beat Zambia by 2-1. And so the last 2 games that Zambia is remaining with, we have lost to our opponents. We traveled to Algeria, we lost. Zimbabwe came to Zambia, we lost, and we'll be traveling to Zimbabwe. And we're looking at the prospect of, Zambia qualifying to the next Cup of Nations. If they fail, then consecutively, Zambia would have failed to qualify to the Africa Cup of Nations. Rajaman, let's look at the foreign-based players that Coach Mitch has caught, blending it together with the local players. Are we going to see a team full of foreign-based players, or there will be a bit of inclusion of local-based, or it will be a domination of local-based players fused in with foreign-based players?
Yeah, I think we'll have foreign players with the blending in of local players, because when you look at boys like Spencer Sautu, Collins, Skombe, I think they deserve to be in the Zambia national team, and much more when you have injuries. Fashion Sakala is not coming. We all know that he's injured. You talk of the Kangwa brothers, Kings, and the boys have been dropped. You talk of Salulani, he's also been dropped. It means that there's room for the local players to be able to come in. So it's a question of having the professionals, so to say, being mixed together with the local players, and it's coming up with a team that will be able to play on Thursday. When you look at the goalkeeping department, for obvious bet, we've got Cyril Chibwe coming in from South Africa. I think is one guy that should be able to mind the post. But equally, when you look at the Alan from Nkana, I think he's also deserving to be in the Zambia between the sticks. So it's a question of the coach, being as to who he should be able to settle for in that game.
Let's go department by department. In goal, who are we expecting?
Yeah,
you put it. We saw the Nkana goalkeeper when Nkana traveled. He managed to save the team even when we played at home. He was also there. You've mentioned the likes of Alan and also Cyril. Who are we fancy?
Yeah, my sure bet on that is that the coach should be able to set for Cyril, Chibwe, Cyril Mwenya Chibwe, from South Africa. I think that should be the boy between the sticks. Remember, he was a boy that did the job when we played Zimbabwe, and unfortunately, he did concede 2 goals in that game.
Left.
Well, again, when
there talks about Zakaria.
Yeah, Zakaria, Chilongoshi. There's also, a few other guys here and there, but we saw what the boy can be able to do at the Chan tournament, where he got himself, a red card. But frankly speaking, I want to believe that when you look at the central defense, it should be Adrian Chama, it should be, Kavaso Chongo, and who else do I think should be able to come in there? I think Tandy Mwapi should be able to have a red, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's not eligible for this game. So, in a nutshell, I think the central defense should be Adrian Chama and Kavaso Chongo.
You have picked on Adrian. Others are thinking and are saying, okay, we saw Adrian playing at the Chan. This is a guy who we cannot even trust. At club level, Zesco, why not Mulashi?
Well, Mulashi is also with the team, and he's good. Again, it's a question of how the coach will be able to view, him in terms of the training, the camp that they're having. You remember this game will be played at night, and they're training at night at Euro Stadium, which is very good, just to acquaint themselves, And the coach, by the end of the day, should be able to settle on which players he should be able to use.
Let's talk about the midfield.
Well, the midfield, that's where I believe there's a bit of, competition. And my take is that the coach should be able to settle for Nathan Sinkara, and Enoch Mwepu. The two should be able to play together. Then up front, just above the two, Cletus Chamachota should be as a creative midfield.
So are you going for a 26?
Yep.
That Mwepu and Nathan should.
Mwepu, Nathan, and Cletus Chama. I think that should be the formation that the coach should be able to use in terms of the
up front.
Up front, yes, a bit of a struggle there. We have first and foremost, Patson Daka. That is a sure bet that Patson should be able to come in. Then on the right, we should have Augustin Mlenga. He's doing a great job in South Africa. He's playing well. Then at number 11, I have a gamble, but my take is that the coach should be able to settle for Collins Sikombe.
Why not Lubambo Msonde?
Well, Lubambo Msonde is very good. He's also professional, but I think maybe he should be able to come in as a super sub.
As a super sub. Let's talk about the time. We did see just a week ago, so when Nkana were playing their opponents here in Zambia, the coach said playing in the evening will give advantage to our colleagues because them in their country, they play their games at night, and us playing them, it means we are going to advantage our colleagues. And we did see what happened. Now Algeria Algeria game has been put at 21 hours. Are we likely to say the same as soccer fans, to say playing Algeria in the night will advantage them because we are not used as Zambians?
Yeah, I think we need, CAF should have helped us in terms of, timing this game, because when we play at night, it does advantage, the Algerians, because it's hot in their country, so they do play the games in, at night. And coming to Zambia to be able to play in the time that is favorable to them, I think it does, disadvantages. But when we zero in specifically to Kelvin Kaindo talking about, Nkana playing their game at night, I think as a coach, you shouldn't come out that way. Because the moment you come out that way, you demoralize the players. You are not helping the players. If anything, you are supposed to be in the forefront to be able to help the players. That come night, we'll be able to play. I'm happy that thus far, Coach Mitchell hasn't come out to be able to, to talk about the timing. It's, the fans and other people that are talking about, it being played at 21 hours. But regardless, this is a directive from CAF, because the Zambian FA did engage CAF in terms of wanting to bring the game, to be played at 15 hours, which is our usual and normal time. But, CAF did refuse. They said no. Every game would have to be played at 21 hours. So it's not only the Zambian game, but it's all Africa Cup qualifiers will have to be played, during the, around that time. Even the Zimbabwe game will have to be played at that time. But what is important is that now that the directive has been given, let's prepare the boys to be able to do battle even if it's at night. Let's instill a sense of discipline. Let's tell the boys that Algeria is beatable. After all, we did beat them at Hero Stadium. You remember 3-1 when Wada was a coach? When we did also travel to Constantine, in which case we were able to beat them 1-0 to new cases of Patson Daka goal. It was also in the night when we were there. When we went there, I was in the stadium in Constantine, Algeria. So I remember vividly that we can also be able to win even if the game is played at night.
You are calling on the FA, or you are saying no, FIFA or CAF were supposed to help us. Others will argue with you, Mr. Mwanza, that Zambia's got the facilities. We have the facilities which can enable us to play at night. Why can't we utilize? Look at
the question of facilities is neither here and there. We do have the facilities. We have National Hero Stadium, Yotham Mwanza Stadium. They can be able to accommodate, that game at night. But typically, usually, we do play our games at 15 hours. We are used to that because it's our timing.
You've talked about football changing. Why can't we change?
Yeah, we have to adapt. We won't, cry over it to say because it's 21 hours we can't be able to play our game. We've agreed. CAF has given a directive, and we have to play at 21 hours. So all I'm saying is that the technical bench must be able to instill, a sense of discipline into the players, to tell them that regardless of the timing, it being awkward hours, let's play the game, let's win the game.
Why can't we start with at club level? We know that, Zesco do use, Yotham Mwanza as their home, ground. Why can't they start now? Because You have Adrian Chama, you have Mulashi, who have been called to the national team, and other players. Why can't they start at club level to say, okay, moving forward, we'll be playing our games at 18 or 19?
Well, I think that's a thing that can be decided for the future. Now that we have, but look at it. How many stadia do we have that can be able to accommodate club level being played at night? If anything, it's only Hero Stadium, Levi Wanasa Stadium, maybe by extent Woodland Stadium. Those are the three stadiums stadia that you can be able to say they've got the floodlights. But for others, look at Nkoloma Stadium, look at Arthur Davis Stadium. Let's look at Chilatab, in Kitwe. It's nowhere near in terms of hosting the games at night. So really, if we had many stadia that could be able to accommodate games being played at night, I think there's no worry. It would have meant that even games can be played over in midweek, because you let fans knock off, workers knock off from their respective works, then they can be able to troop to the respective stadia to be able to watch the games. I think going forward, that should be the plan.
Andrew Kamanga was given another mandate, together with others, to spearhead and continue to be at the helm of our football. What sort of change should Andrew come up with, together with the new guys that have joined him, to make sure that our football begins to tick once again, be at administrative level? Or what are some of the things that you would propose as a soccer fan to say, this is what we expect from the new executive together with Andrew Kamanga if our football is to...
Yeah, first and foremost, I think we need to, on this platform, to congratulate Andrew Kamanga for being re-elected as, the Zambian FA president, which is, great. The councillors decided, and we can't run away from that fact. He's a president, and he's got a new 4-year term, in which to serve. Now, going forward, what should he be able to do? I think, first and foremost, is qualifying Zambia national team to the Africa Cup of Nations.
We all know what you're expecting.
Yeah, that's my expectation as a fan of the game. Because twice in a row, we've never been to the Africa Cup of Nations. You have players, that are at the top of the game. Patson Daka, Enoch Mwepu. They're yet to be to the Africa Cup of Nations. So if we don't make it...
They have played UEFA.
Well, they've played they've played UEFA, but every African player would want to play the Africa, would want to be at Africa's showpiece. That is the Africa Cup of Nations. They would want to win it. They would want to have silverware. They would want to, to have, travel to where, the tournament is being played. So they're at the top of the career. I think the boys deserve to be at the Africa Cup of Nations for them to be regarded as greats. Because you can never be regarded as a great player if you've never been to the Africa Cup of Nations. Look at the Eto'os of this world. You can name them, the Drogbas of this world, all those guys. They are Abedi Peles of this world. It's because they played well with the national team. They were at the Africa Cup of Nations, and hence they were able to earn professional contracts for them to be able to play abroad. And they are still being recognized today, owing to the fact that they've played at that level. Now, secondly, the Andrew Kamanga executive that is just coming into office, would want again by extension for them to qualify the Zambia national team to the World Cup, Qatar 2022. I think we all know that Zambia has been to the Africa Cup of Nations. We've won it once. We've been to all stages, semi-final, quarter-final, finals twice, thrice. Then we won it once. Now, it's time for us to be able to qualify for the World Cup. We've never been. So, the task or the wish of us, the fans, is that we need to qualify Zambia to the World Cup.
What sort of support are you rendering to the Andrew Kamanga in order for them to deliver on, for lack of better term, the demands that is coming from you, the soccer fans? What sort of support are you giving them?
No, well, we need to give them support, because the truth of the matter is that they're in office. They've just been recently elected. Let every Zambian soccer fan be able to support the Andrew Kamanga-led executive. I think there's nothing that we can be able to do. The executive does, also need the support of government, because they cannot work on their own. You all know that government is a good partner in terms of sponsoring football into this country. Government does foot, the bills of the Zambia national team, much more the senior national team, even it does charter flights for the Zambia national team, does pay allowances for the Zambia national team. So it's important even for the executive to be able to offer an olive branch to government in terms of for them to be able to work in harmony and in tandem with government.
There are players that we are not caught by the current course that we have, the likes of Cletus Chama, and we give an example of the current captain, Kabaso Chongo, who was dropped. What sort of mental psyche are you expecting to these guys? Because these guys were overlooked and now they've been considered. And for other players, it becomes very difficult for them to give their 100% performance now that they've been considered. What sort of,
I think when you look at Cletus Chamachota, you look at Kawaso Chongo, those are professional players. They've been around for a longer period. They know that in every game, there are ups and downs, they know that you could be shouted at, you could be spoke of in a negative sense. I think the onus is on them to be able to bury the past. I want to believe that whatever happened in Nairobi is a past, and it's a bygone. Let's forget about it. We all know what happened with Cletus when he was dropped at the time that he failed to come to the Zambia national team, or he came in a bit late to the Zambia national team, and as a result, Coach Mitchell was able to drop him. But Mitchell is a parent. He's like a father to these guys, and as a result, he's also forgotten about what transpired. That's why he's called them to the Zambia national team. So it's something that is a past and a bygone.
I know that from the fans' point of view, what you're expecting come Thursday is a win.
Of course, of course. We're looking for a win.
What sort of message are you sending to your fellow fans?
Well, if the players...
Because we've seen others, demeaning the team, demeaning the coach, demeaning the players.
No. Let's not demean the coaches. Let's not demean the players. Let's not, look at this game as a game that we've already lost. I think let's give the boys a benefit of doubt. Let's encourage the boys. Let's encourage the technical bench. I think when you look at the players, like I did mention, I think these are players that are having game time at their respective clubs, week in and week out. You could talk of Gampani Lungu at Super Sport. You talk of Augustine Mlenga is playing. You talk of Chama is playing with in East Africa. You talk of Rally Bwadia, he's also playing. You talk of Kabaso Chongo. You also captain Tipi Mazembe. He parts on Daka just yesterday he scored over the for his club. Mwepu was also in fine form. So really, I think these are boys that are having a great game time. So that's it. Let's have confidence in them. Let's have this belief that they can be able to beat Algeria. After all, Algeria is beatable.
In an event that Zambia is beaten at home at the hands of Algeria, what becomes of Zambia? What is it that will become of Zambia?
Unfortunately, we won't be able to qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations.
Meaning we'll miss the AFCON
for the third time in a row. Yeah, in a row, which would be quite sad. It will be a bad day, for Zambia not to qualify. But all hope is not lost. I think we can still go back to the drawing board and see how best we can be able to resuscitate, revive our game, come back, stronger. Because it's from such moments when you're depressed, when your game has gone down, when you haven't qualified, that you come out stronger and be able to qualify for the Zambia national team. Let's look at the team that won the Africa Cup of Nations. 14 years in a row, we failed we were only ejected in the first round. Then Angola 2010. We managed to get into the quarterfinals. 2 years later, in Libreville, Gabon, we were able to win the Africa Cup of Nations. So even for this team, we can be able to draw, some strength from the fact that we haven't qualified and from the fact that we've got a good team. We've got very good boys. We've got a very good coach. Then we can build from there and conquer Africa again.
Your concluding remarks. The game is on Thursday, and your way to the technical bench. The players, I know that some may be watching and listening to you. Your way to the players, your way to the technical bench, to the soccer fans, as well as the administration.
Yeah, beginning with the soccer fans, of which I'm also chairman of Chipolopolo Soccer Fans. I think much as we won't be into the stadium, to be able to watch this game, owing to COVID-19. I think we should be able to watch it on television. Let's have faith in the boys, trust the boys, be able to support the team regardless, because 90 minutes is too much. You cannot have a higher tempo during the duration of 90 minutes. At some point, our game will have to go down, but let's keep on supporting the boys. Coming to to the players, I think this is a moment that they need to prove themselves, that they deserve the calling. They deserve to wear the Zambian colors, to wear the Zambian badge, and let them be able to produce a scintillating performance, a performance that every Zambian will be able to talk about in years to come. Because from this performance, they'll be assured that next time, when we've got another qualifier, when we've got a World Cup game, the coach will be able to call upon you. Coming to the coaches, I think Coach Mitchell has got a golden opportunity to prove, to the Zambian skeptics that he's a coach of sort, worth his salt, that he can be able to turn around the fortunes of the Zambian game and qualify the Zambian national team to Africa Cup and the World Cup. So it begins with a game against Algeria.
There you have it. This has been a special edition of Plan Talk. Zambia will be playing on Thursday against Algeria. Like our German Yotham Mwanza, who is the Chipolopolo Soccer Fans Association president, has put it, if Algeria will beat Zambia, then it means for the third consecutive time, Zambia will fail to qualify to the Africa Cup of Nations. My name is Kelvin Tabola, Chief Focal, wishing the Chipolopolo boys all the best as they rock horns with Algeria on Thursday. The game will be played at 21 hours Zambian time. No fans, but let us watch and follow the game and continue to cheer and have the spirit that Zambia can still do it again like they have done it before. Until next time, good night.
Yeah. Give us, give us. This is Zambia, the home of copper.